Thank you, Madam Chair. Congressman Zinke, you said earlier in the hearing that you oppose selling off our public lands or turning them over to the states. However, on the opening day of the 115th Congress, you voted for a House rule that makes it easier to give away our public lands based on the idea that those public lands have no financial value, no score. How do you square the two things?
The vote was a rule vote in the House. That was one of many rules. And I would characterize it as it was an indicator how upset people are about our land policy at the moment. Particularly if you're in Utah, Nevada, Wyoming, Colorado, in some places, people are upset. Idaho, Montana. But it has no weight unless it's executed. So I think it's a shot across the bow that we have to do something. And I started out my remarks by saying my number one is trust, is that I have to go out there and restore trust. The reason why, and one of the reasons why people want to sell or transfer public land is there's no trust because they feel like they don't have a voice. They feel like they don't matter. Well, they should matter.
Congressman, if that rule wasn't part of a bigger package, if it stood alone, would you support it?
I would not. I think I voted 17 times against either transfer or sale of public land or in favor of LWCF.
Right. No, that's a great answer. You mentioned that you're a big Teddy Roosevelt fan. Many of us are. In 1906, he signed the Antiquities Act. 18 states have new national monuments established in the past 6 years. In my home state of New Mexico, we have 2 new monuments that have already proven to be incredibly popular with local communities and which are already driving economic growth for local businesses. And frankly, my Navajo and Pueblo constituents are also very supportive of the new Bears Ears National Monument because it protects some of the most sacred sites in their historical homeland. I have letters here from business owners, sportsmen, faith leaders, county commissioners, and veterans in New Mexico asking for your support for the Rio Grande del Norte and Oregon Mountains Desert Peaks National Monuments. Madam Chairman, I just ask that you allow me to submit these for the record. The Antiquities Act is the law of the land, and communities in New Mexico are already in the process of developing management plans for those monuments. Will you simply commit to working in good faith with these gateway communities, including tribal communities, to make sure that these monuments are a success, or some might say even to make sure that these monuments are great?
Sir, I will absolutely commit to working with you. There's some monuments that are more controversial than others. I think a monument, when it falls in a state, I think the state should have a say on it. To me, I've always kind of considered monuments as I drive across Montana, a pretty big state, between here and Chicago plus 2 miles. When you see a sign that says monument, generally I have always envisioned as a battlefield, a location that deserves special recognition. Larger monuments that are millions of acres that don't have support of the community, there's no doubt the president has the authority to amend a monument. It's always in the papers. It'll be interesting to see whether the president has the authority to nullify a monument. But certainly my counsel will be...
What is your view on that?
Legally, it's untested on it. What I would prefer is, again, to work in a collaborative effort with the states. If the states, like their monuments, and we've talked in the state of Maine on it, and if the state's comfortable with the monument as it is and they have a management plan, I think we should work with the state and be an advocate. If the state is upset about a monument, they had a plan that's different from what was done, then I think we should defer a lot of that to the state.
Can you point to a sentence within the Antiquities Act, which, as you know, is very short, that authorizes rescinding a monument?
There is no statement that authorizes rescinding, and I'm not an attorney, thank God. But
that makes 2 of us.
But at the end of the day,
I think we're both grateful, and our constituents
I think
probably are too.
I would think that if the president would nullify a monument, it would be challenged, and then the court would determine whether or not the legal framework allows it or not. I would hope the right path is we work with the states, wherever that monument is. And I think we've all benefited from a lot of our monuments as they go around. Certainly in Montana, the battlefield of Little Bighorn has been enormously important for the state of Montana and the Crow Nation, and they're very happy with it, although it needs some work.
Thank you, Congressman.